So let's look at 6 different approaches to global education. As we can see at 12 o'clock, the first one is pedagogies. We're going to look at each of these 6 approaches in just a very small amount of detail. So pedagogies is how we teach. And when we're thinking about global citizenship education, we want our pedagogies to be student-centered and using approaches such as inquiry-based learning, problem-based learning, project-based learning, design thinking can be implemented, as well as using your standard kind of curriculum approach. The second is the curriculum. It's the what we teach, it's the content. So obviously we want to be looking at global topics, global problems, global issues, and these will align more naturally to some subjects such as geography, history, social studies, English, than they will to others such as maths or PE. However, there are opportunities across the whole curriculum to be addressing global citizenship education. And you could also be looking at a cross-curriculum approach. The third one is global collaboration. And obviously this is very much driven by digital technology, as we can see here with this young woman. And this is the learning with others, connecting with others internationally, globally, using synchronous and asynchronous technologies to do so. Exploring and building the understanding of other countries and cultures, but also collaborating with them to solve problems together. The next one is the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. And this may give some guidance as to the what, the topics, the problems, the issues. This has so much potential in a school, and all of these sustainable goals have real life application in any country in the world. Most countries in the world have some kind of issues related to life below the water, rivers and oceans. There isn't a country that, doesn't have issues related to that. Climate action is the same. So we're not just looking at developing countries when we're thinking about the SDGs, we're thinking about our own context as well as international contexts. The next one is taking action. Now, technically, this is an aspect of what defines global citizenship education, but I did want to include it here because, as an approach, because it is so essential, and it is so essential that taking action in the local and the global, you might have heard that term globalization, using a global lens on a local context or vice versa. Is so important. Thinking about not charity work, thinking about that sort of co-learning together, empowering others, helping others to help themselves, upskilling ourselves in the process. And probably one of the best examples of this I heard about recently was a young woman in the UK was talking about how her class had knitted hats and sold those hats to make money and then donated that money. Now that is wonderful, and the students learn a skill in that. But this reminds me of that quote, teach a man to fish and feed him for a lifetime. Give a man a fish and it feeds him for a day. So it's really important. Perhaps they could have got on Zoom, got on video conferencing and taught students how to knit for themselves so that those students had a skill that they could use for the rest of their lives. And then they might have learned a skill from those students as well. So it's not just this one-way relationship. And the last one is a whole school approach. Now, obviously, a whole school approach requires strong leadership and direction from school leaders, but also there are lots of ways that we can be considering global citizenship education beyond the classroom. Things like school assemblies, languages that are embedded across the whole school, across the curriculum, into the everyday, into assemblies. Also things like culture days or international days that in special events that could be happening across the school year that have that global perspective. So here are 6 approaches to implementing global citizenship education for consideration.